Senator Amy Klobuchar's call for bipartisanship has sparked intense debate, particularly among progressives who argue that finding common ground with the Trump administration is not only unrealistic but also dangerous. Klobuchar's statement, "If there is a middle of all this hot mess of division, Americans want us to work together when we can and find common ground," has been met with fierce criticism from progressive activists and lawmakers. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has been vocal in her opposition, tweeting, "Bipartisanship isn't a virtue when you're negotiating with authoritarianism." Other activists argue that working with the Trump administration only legitimizes its policies, which they see as a threat to democracy, civil rights, and social justice. Historians note that bipartisanship has worked in the past, but today's political climate is more polarized than ever. For progressives, working with Trump's allies isn't about policy, it's about the fight for democracy itself. Despite the backlash, Klobuchar remains firm, arguing that Americans want their leaders to cooperate when possible. She believes bipartisan efforts on issues like infrastructure and healthcare are still necessary. Klobuchar has a track record of working across the aisle, having passed over 30 bipartisan bills into law during this Congress. However, many progressives see Klobuchar's approach as naive, arguing that the Trump administration is not interested in compromise. They believe that Democrats should take a harder stance, resisting the administration's policies rather than trying to find common ground. The debate raises fundamental questions about the nature of governance and the role of bipartisanship in a deeply polarized society. Is Klobuchar's calling for common ground a practical approach to governance, or is it unrealistic in today's political climate? Some argue that Klobuchar's approach is a necessary evil, given the current makeup of Congress. With a Republican-controlled Senate, Democrats may need to work with Republicans to pass legislation. However, others argue that this approach only emboldens the Trump administration and undermines the Democratic Party's values.